So I have been an Android user my entire life. Android user my entire life with the S23 FE as my daily driver for the last 6 months. While I usually only use iPhones for reviews or testing, so I decided to use this iPhone 13 as my main device for the past week. And to be honest, it made me miserable. I mean, don't get me wrong, iPhones are fantastic devices. I mean, that's why people buy them worldwide. They've got great cameras, a lag-free experience and all. But as a long-term Android user, using an iOS device felt like a huge downgrade. The first thing that I found annoying on the iPhone is the lack of navigation gestures. Like on my S23 FE or any other Android phone, I get these 3 dedicated navigation buttons on the bottom, or I can use to choose these navigation gestures in their place. But on the iPhone, there are no dedicated buttons. It does have 2 gestures. I can swipe up from the bottom to go to the home screen, and I can swipe right from the side to go back. But I cannot swipe left to go back, which doesn't make sense. It even makes one-handed use a bit less convenient for right-hand users. So why Apple? And these 2 gestures are also not guaranteed to work on every app. On some apps you can use the gestures, while on others you can't. You'll have to tap on this little back button, which is also not fixed. Sometimes it's this, and other times it's a cross. I mean, it keeps changing colors. What are you, my ex? And as for non-native apps, they work as they please. As you can see, on this app, I cannot use the back gesture. Instead, I can swipe down to go back. It differs from app to app. Sometimes they work and other times they don't. These things seem really unrefined and I was not at all expecting it from Apple. Also, the iPhone does not have auto brightness. No wait, it does, just not accessible from the control center. You'll have to go all the way to the settings and then turn it on or off. Good job at making things easy, Apple. The iPhone's keyboard is ancient. There's no other way to say this. There are no numbers on the top, making typing extremely slow. Like every time I want to type a digit, I'll have to change the keyboard. What's up with that? And the worst part is that there's no clipboard on it. On the Android devices, you get this clipboard. Here, I can easily access all the copied and clipped data and I can use it whenever I want. There are some workarounds for this on the iOS, but it's a very tedious task and requires third-party apps, which is not very convenient or efficient. Even the very basic tasks like turning on the Bluetooth or Wi-Fi are very different here. Like, I can turn the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth off from the control center, but in reality, it only deactivated them for today. That means it will automatically turn on at midnight. To turn it off for good, to actually turn it off, I'll have to do it the long way by going to the settings and then individually turning them off. And if that wasn't enough, the calling experience on the iPhone was also not very great. There's no call recording option and no integrated option to take notes during calls. For that, you'll have to open the Notes app. And there's no option to put calls on hold. No wait, there is. But in my defense, even my friends who have been using an iPhone for years didn't know about it. I literally had to Google it. It's a neat little trick. To put calls on the hold, you have to press and hold the mute button for about 4 to 5 seconds. See? Well, if you want to learn some more iPhone tips and tricks, then you can watch this video. Moving on, the iPhone does not have T9 dialing. The T9 dialing is a utility feature that lets you easily find the contacts from the keypad. Like on my S23 FE, I can directly search for contacts through the dial pad like this. And on the iPhone, the call logs on the iPhone are also very cluttered. On top of cellular calls, it shows all the other call logs, whether it's a Skype call, a WhatsApp call, or any other call from any other app. All of it is there on the call logs, and it seems very unorganized. Some people may actually prefer it, but personally I don't. Now, let's talk about the cameras. No doubt, this is where the iPhone truly shines. It takes stunning images and even better videos. But there's always a but. I don't know why this is, but for some reason, iPhones cannot pause video recording. For instance, on my Android phone, I can start video recording and then pause it as many times as I want, instead of recording lots of small videos or a very big video like on the iPhone. This might seem a small thing, but if you're a vlogger or just shoot video a lot from your smartphone, then you can imagine how important of a feature it is. It's better for organizing and also saves a ton of storage. And what's with not being able to rename videos or photos? You know how hard it can be to sometimes transfer files without knowing which video contains the stuff you want? I know, Apple likes to think differently, but in this case, different is proving to be inconvenient. Another thing, in artificially light environments, the iPhone had lens flares. And I know, lens flares are common. It's not an iPhone problem, even Androids have them. But still, the lens flare was significantly more intense on the iPhone 13. No doubt, shifting from an Android to an iOS requires some getting used to. But what if getting used to means getting used to not using those features anymore? And that's exactly what I had to face when I tried to unlock this iPhone 13. No fingerprint sensor. Yes, I know the Face ID works flawlessly. In fact, it is better than the Face Unlock on my S23 FE or even the S23 Ultra. That's because Apple uses infrared sensors to create an infrared image of your face to map every little texture of your face accurately. Both Apple's Face ID and Samsung's face recognition are on par in normal lighting conditions. But when it gets really dark, the Face ID wipes the flow with face recognition. It not only unlocks the iPhone just as quickly in the dark as it does during the day, but it also does not blind you for 2 seconds by turning on the screen on at full brightness. So the iPhone does the face unlock faster and more reliably than any Android. But still, not having a fingerprint sensor has its own drawbacks. I know, most Apple users won't even need a fingerprint sensor because they are just used to using their smartphone that way. But for me, the lack of a fingerprint sensor was kind of an issue. Like most of the time when I'm working, I just place my phone beside my laptop like this. I don't have to pick it up every time I want to use it. But with the iPhone, I either had to pick it up and point the screen towards me or just spare a few extra seconds to enter the pin. And during the past week, I also noticed that I get more distracted when I picked up the phone than when I use it while placed on the table. Usually, I just quickly check it and then get back to work. But I realized that when I picked up the phone, then all my attention shifted towards it, and it was easier to get distracted. I found myself getting distracted more frequently than usual. Also, there's no option to install third-party apps, although that could change in the future. The European Union is forcing Apple to allow the installation of third-party apps, so maybe in the future, Apple will allow side-loading apps worldwide. But as of now, it's not possible without jailbreaking the iPhone. Since I'm talking about apps, there's one other thing. The apps on the iPhone tend to be much larger in size compared to their Android counterparts. This takes up more storage space, which is a significant issue given that nowadays there's no option to expand storage with SD cards. And transferring files? Well, it's not as bad as they say. I connected my iPhone to my laptop using a data cable and was able to copy all the files I wanted. I could easily transfer all the files from my iPhone to my Windows laptop. However, transferring files from the laptop to the iPhone was not possible. Apple says that they limit their iPhone so much because of security concerns. And although it may be true, it doesn't change the fact that iPhones are not as versatile as Android phones. During the past week while using the iPhone, there were 2 things that I missed the most: multitasking and customization. Well, multitasking is almost non-existent on iPhones. Like on most Android phones, you can use 2 apps simultaneously using a split screen, which is very useful. For example, I can do my research and work on a document at the same time. I can attend a lecture while taking notes, or I can also compare the products between 2 shopping apps. There are countless possibilities. Sadly, iPhone does not have this feature. I mean, you can use third-party apps to do it, but they're either paid apps or it is just not as seamless as on Android. Just like multitasking, customization is also non-existent on iPhones. On Android, there are limitless options to personalize and customize the phone. I can change the theme, the icons and home screen, the notification bar and even the animations. I can even set it to show these animations whenever I get a notification. But iPhones are just too rigid here. You cannot place the icons wherever you want on the home screen. You cannot customize the icons and you cannot customize the notification sounds. The freedom to be creative and personalize your phone is just not there on iPhone. Using this iPhone over the past week was fun, and this experience has given me so much more to appreciate my Android phone. And I won't be switching to iOS anytime soon. So that's it for this one. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Comment down which OS you like better, Android or iOS. Subscribe to Gizmo Rush for more videos like this. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you guys next time.